Good morning, everyone. Happy Wednesday happy Thursday to all of you. Wow, that was a slip. You can tell I've been doing this on Wednesdays for a long time. Happy Thursday. It's a good day to watercolor, and I'm so glad to be with all of you. I hope you're having a good morning. I am going to be announcing, before we start our project, I'm going to be announcing the winner of the Camper Challenge. And I'll just wait a couple of minutes for everybody to get on here, but I gotta tell you guys, this was the most fun. And looking at all these entries, I'm blown away by the creativity. It has been the best, and you guys are just awesome. And thank you all for entering. I think we had over 40 entries into the challenge. All of them were amazing. Very hard to pick a winner. But we did pick some winners, and I'm going to be announcing that to you. So, but before I do, let me just remind you of our warehouse sale, you guys. If you haven't put this on your calendar, June 10th and 11th, we are finally going to be able to do our warehouse sale again for those of you who haven't been. It is such a fun time. It's a good opportunity for us to clear out all of our cupboards and put things on sale. There's lots of bargains and games, and there will be classes, lots of classes. So more information to come on that. This is just a save the date message for you so that you don't plan anything on June 10th and 11th. And you know, for those of you who may have never been to Oregon, this is a great time to come. Come hang out with us and enjoy the beautiful summer weather in Oregon. It is beautiful in June, so we would love to have you. Okay, let me just see if my comments are set up here so that I can say hi to all of you. And okay, I see them on here. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Tony is on to the Queen. Good morning, Queen Bee. Okay, that reminds me, I got to show you guys. So it's our anniversary this month. Phil and I will have been married 42 years. We were extremely young when we got married. So 42 years, March 29th. And he gave me an early anniversary present. I know it's backwards, but it says Queen Bee. Queen and the letter B. I just love it. I absolutely love it. I was so surprised. And of course I have it on. So I love it. We will be celebrating 42 years. It has been the best time. We are such good friends. We've been through a lot together, good times and hard times, and I think that strengthens your relationship. And we learn how to work together. We're a really good team, and he's my biggest fan. I really got to say that. He really is. He's such a great guy. And many of you know him from the shows and from posting on here. And I don't know if he's on. I think he might be on. So you can say hi to him. So, okay, good morning to all of you. So also another reminder, today is the last day to get the throwback. It will be gone for eternity now. So there are 2 sets in the throwback. So let me just show you those really quickly. Today is the last day at midnight that you can get these. Here is the first one. It is the Large Porch 5544. This one, it is a very large stamp, but it does fit on an A2 card. Barely, but it does fit on an A2 card. Here is the sample of that. You can catch this tutorial. This was on Tuesday morning. So it is archived onto our Facebook page. So you'll be able to check that one out. Kendra then did the other set, which is the cart and the fence set. So this one right here, she did this on Back to Basics that night. So there are 2 tutorials on these 2 sets. And here is her cute sample. Isn't that cute? If you have not caught this, even if you don't get the throwback sets, there's a lot of really good information in here. And you can see that the flowers and the foliage are from our flowers and foliage sets. So a lot of good information on Back to Basics. So you'll be able to check those out. If you get one or both of those, you will get this free bonus stamp. This is also an exclusive. When these are gone, this is gone. So you'll get this in your order if you order those throwbacks. And if you happen to already have those sets when you purchased them years ago, I don't even know how many years these things have been discontinued, but they have been gone for a very long time. If you happen to have purchased those years ago and you want to put in an order today, be sure to say in the comments that you have those sets and you would like the freebie, and we will put that into your order. Okay, you guys, where's the drum roll? I feel like I should have a drum roll here. So I said to you when I started this challenge, we were going to pick 2 winners. So we were going to pick a random winner. We're going to put everyone in a hat and we're going to draw out a winner because it's really, really hard to pick a top spot. It's so hard, and there's only one top spot winner, but there are so many excellent entries. So we always have another one. So we have a top spot and then we have a random winner. So I'm going to announce those right now. The winner of the random drawing. Now this is, she I don't know her last name, but she will know, and she can go to the, she can see on the blog, but it's number 9, Julie W. is our random winner for the camper challenge. Julie W, number 9. Now you will need to, Julie, you'll need to email Leah at feedback@artimpressions.com and give her your information so that she can give you a coupon code. And the top spot, this was really hard. Wow, this was so hard, is going to Diane Mason for her amazing, oh my gosh, it is the most creative, awesome sample. You guys have to see it. It is so great. Diane Mason is our top spot winner. Now, we've upped the prize level, you guys. I said it was $25. Those 2 winners will get a $50 coupon to spend on our website. And like I said, it was too hard to decide. We've also picked 2 honorary mentions because, like I said, we were just blown away. 2 honorary mentions, they are going to get a $25 gift certificate to our website. Honorary mention goes to Michelle Hoskins and Tony Woods. Amazing entries. Absolutely amazing. They will get a $25 gift certificate. Now, the rest, like I said, there were over 40. Every single entry, every single person who entered, some of you have entered multiple times, but every single person who entered, you will also get a gift certificate. You're going to get a $15 gift certificate to our website for anything that you would like to purchase on there. So all of you, this was the funnest thing. I absolutely loved looking at your entries. I was so blown away, and I always feel like my job is to inspire you, but I am so inspired by you and the things that you do and the things that you create. And so many times when I'm seeing your art, I'm thinking to myself, wow, I never thought of that. I never thought of using the stamp that way. That is so brilliant, just so brilliant. So it is so fun for me. And this was such a fun challenge. And so everybody had to be a winner. So for our 2 top winners, that would be our number 9, Julie W, and our top spot winner, Diane Mason. You will also get the originals from that tutorial. So you will each get one of these signed originals with your $50 gift certificate. So all of you who have entered, you need to email Leah. Leah, I know you're going to get bombarded, but you'll need to email Leah feedback@artimpressions.com and let her know that you had an entry and that you are a winner. And she will get a code to you so that you can purchase on our website. So thank you guys all so much for entering. It was so much fun. I absolutely loved it. And we'll do it again. We will for sure do it again. Let me show you that. Here's, for those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, this was the challenge. We had to make a camper. I made this camper and I did it on one of my lives, and I challenged everyone. They had 2 weeks to create a camper like this. So something that was similar to that. And wow, the creativity. If you want to go see the winners, I believe at 10:15 they will all be posted on there on our blog. I believe if Leah is on, she will post that link. So at 10:15 and after 10:15, you can go on there and look. But for those of you who have never been to our blog, go to artimpressions.com, click that little icon on the side that says blog, and it will take you to our blog, and you can scroll down and see the camper challenge and see all the entries. They are absolutely amazing. And then of course see our grand prize winner. She is also amazing. Okay, you guys. Let's get on to our project. We are going to, since we're so close to St. Patrick's, and you know what? I haven't said hi to anyone yet. I was so excited about announcing the winners of that. I'm going to do that again, you guys. That was just too fun. But I'll have a really good challenge next time too. Diane is on. Diane, congratulations. Wow, you are such a talent. And Diane is an excellent artist anyway. She's just amazing and so creative. Just really good. And you know, this technique, you know, is for people who are saying, you know, I don't know, I'm not an artist, you know, I can't do this, but you can do it. You absolutely can do it. Follow a few simple rules, break it down, you know, break down these complicated scenes, follow the simple rules, and you're going to be able to create amazing artwork like this. You really can. It's, you know, it's never too late to start. And, you know, I should just mention too, if you are just starting out, especially, and you need some information, check out the Art Impressions group. These are the private groups on Facebook. There are two of them. One is called the Art Impressions Way. The other one is called the Art Impressions Stamp Group. And there are two of them on Facebook. And I would encourage you to just join both because you do have to ask. You have to ask. They're private. So you do have to ask to join. But the most amazing artists are on these groups. And so encouraging and so helpful. And just, they have made lifelong friends. I know they have. Wow, you guys. Okay, I wish I could just like scroll through here and say hi to all of you. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. Michelle is on. Michelle, amazing artist, so creative. I think Michelle might be the most creative person I've ever met, ever met online. She is absolutely amazing with what she does with these stamps. Just incredible. So, okay, everyone, let's get to our project. It's a St. Patrick's. My first St. Patrick's project I did, I realized later that our shipment of St. Patrick's stamps has not come. So we are temporarily out of it, but I will at least show you what it was. And then I had to switch it up to another one. But, you know, if you do want this set, it will be available. It's coming. It's just coming in probably a couple of weeks. So here's what I did first. This little guy, this little leprechaun, and I put a little rainbow behind him, but he now is out of stock on our website. So you can't purchase it right now today, but you can get it later. So keep that in mind. So I did change it out, and I changed it out to this little leprechaun guy, and he is so cute. I changed up his clothes and put a little hat on his head. So I'm going to show you how to do that. And then we're going to create a rainbow. I don't think I've ever done a rainbow on a tutorial. So we're going to do that today and have so much fun. So you guys, let's get going on this project. I'm going to switch my camera around so that I can get going on this project. This is always the awkward part, you guys. Okay, so I am going to make sure that this is straight. And it looks like it is here. Okay, here we go. This is our little project for today. This little guy, I don't use these little kids enough, and they are just so fun. And doing him, I'm thinking, you know what? I probably need to do another set of these little guys because they're just so cute. So that may be on the agenda, more little kids. So I created this little pot of gold and a little rainbow back here and dressed him up. So I'm going to do a little tutorial for you guys on how exactly to stamp that. But here is the cheat sheet for now. And I think this is all on the screen so that you can see what I'm using. Here are the stamps, and then here are the SKUs from the sets that they're in. So in the meantime, I will show you, I'll show you what all I use. So I'll show you the actual sets here. So here is the little guy's set, and we're using this one here. So you can see he's a little different from this one. So we changed him out a little bit, not a ton, so don't be intimidated, you guys. This is a really good lesson to do anyway because you're never locked into the stamp itself. There are always ways that you can modify it and change it. And thinking outside of the box like this, it really helps you to be learn to be more creative. It really does. And I wouldn't have thought about making him a little leprechaun if I hadn't had to switch out my project. So there you go, see? So we're going to use this little guy. We're going to take his baseball hat off, or the majority of it, and we're going to make him into a little leprechaun. The little basket here, we're going to use this in the background. So this one. The foliage set 4. So this one, we're going to use this little leaf here, probably sparingly. In fact, I'm not even sure I'm going to use it, but I took it out anyway, just in case. In the mini flower set, this little one right here. Flower set 2, we're going to use a long stem. So any long stem. And I just use a long stem as an accent. So you can use any long stem that you have, but I'm using this one here. And in the original flower set and foliage set, we're going to use the filler flowers here, this one. And then we're going to use the vine, the large grass, and the small grass. So these 3 here in the corner. So we're going to use those. So what I have done, and if you want to, somebody mentioned that they do a screenshot, take a screenshot. That's a really good idea. You can take a screenshot and then you can, put it over to the side so that you can get a visual of what I'm using here, because I do have to eventually take it off the screen. So here's what I did. I did this in a circle. Let me just open it up here so you can see. And I like to see the white edge, especially if I'm going to cut it out. I like to see a white border on here. I just think that adds a lot to it, to the look of it. So I use the circle dies from our double stitch circle dies set. I use these 2, and I started out with the small one. And this is the one that I used with the masking paper. And this is masking paper right here. This is from Inkadinkado. And we carry this on our website. It's stamping mask paper, and there's quite a few sheets in here. There are 12, and they're pretty good sized, you can see. So this will last you quite a while. I use this a lot. This is great paper, and like I said, it's on our website. And then this one, these are double stitched dies. So and honestly, for the masking paper, it doesn't matter. But I cut it out, and then I use the negative for the circle. So you can just put this on your watercolor paper, and now you have your circle boundary, but you can then cut it out with the next size up, this one. So then when you go to cut it out, you've got that white border around it. So, I really think that that adds a lot. Now, if we were doing a size that, a circle that didn't have a larger circle, I would just trace a circle and then use your mask tape and then cover it, so that you can cut it out with the large circle. So I hope that didn't just totally confuse you guys. Okay, so that's what I did. And then I pre-stamped it. I went ahead and pre-stamped it because I want to show you with a little more detail about how we're going to actually do this little boy. So I blew it up big because I don't know how many of you watch on your phone, but this little guy, he's pretty small. And if you look at the actual the stamp, to see the details where we stamp and where we don't, where we ink and where we don't ink, it's pretty small. So I blew it up big, and this would be a good thing to do a screenshot on too, if you want to make sure that you are inking him the way that he needs to be inked. So here's the original stamp. This is what it looks like if you were just to ink the whole thing and stamp it. So what we're doing is we're going to modify it and change him up and add a few things. So really the only thing that you want to do is leave off this part of the hat. So you can see from above this point here to the back, you can ink that. You can ink this part down here. But from the top up, we're going to take the whole dome of his cap off. And then we're going to take the front of the arm off. So this here. And the reason we're doing that is because we're going to create a long sleeve. Now, on mine that I stamped, I got a little bit of that shirt on there. That's okay. That's totally fine. I just, when I was inking around it, I just, nicked it a little bit and got a little bit on there. You can leave it because it probably will wash out, or you can take your little sand eraser like this and just erase it off. This little sand eraser, this works great. There's no other way to erase your watercolor goof lines than a sand eraser. So we also have these on our website. If you just Google or you just search sand eraser, you'll see these. They're pretty inexpensive, but they're really handy to have in your toolbox. So we're taking that front line off. So this one right here. So when you go to ink this, you're using your marker. You're not going to ink this part on top, and you're not going to ink the front of the arm. Okay, now over here you can see that the sleeve is showing here short. Okay, you don't have to worry about this side. It's so small that by the time we add the color to it, it's going to be fine. You're not going to have to worry about that. So I just ink this whole thing, ink this all up except for this area where the top of the hat is and the front of the arm. Okay, so here's what we're going to do when we modify. So this would be your next screenshot if you want to keep this. The first thing we're going to do is build the hat. And what we're doing is, and I'll go through this. So we're going to actually do it on our project, but I want you to be able to see it large so that if you want to go back, you can see where all the adjustments are and what we're doing. Okay, so we're going to duplicate this little point here and we're going to draw it back here, and we're going to do this all with our pencil. 2 straight lines up and the little dome on the top. And this little image here, this little rectangle, that's going to all blend in. So we don't have to worry about that. You don't have to take it off. You can if you want to, but you don't have to. Okay? And then on the coat, we're going to create this little line here. We're just going to complete it and make the collar. So we're just going to make a straight line here and create the collar of the coat. And then we're going to draw a straight line down and create the sleeve, the long sleeve. We're going to add a little detail to the back. Put a little button in here and here. And then we're going to create another extra little tail on the coat. So there's simple little shapes, triangles, you guys. A triangle here and here. And, 2 straight lines and a dome. It's so easy. There's just really nothing to it. The hardest part is to leave it off of your stamp when you go to stamp it. Try not to get that inked. And then he's going to be the cutest little leprechaun boy ever. So I'm going to go through all of this. Here's one more look at the actual set so that you can see what the steps are. 1, 2, 3. The first one is to ink it and stamp it, add the hat, add the coat. So we're going to do this. We're going to actually do it. But I just, when you're looking at a tiny image, and I could try to zoom in, but a lot of times when I do that, I am off the screen. So here we go, you guys. All that being said. And I also do like to keep the original on the screen now if I can, because I think that's helpful to see where I'm going with everything. So you can kind of see the process. So I will see if I can bring this forward a little bit and maybe zoom in some. Make sure that I can get everything on here, or the majority of it on here. Okay, I think we've got everything on here. Maybe out just a bit. Okay. All right, you guys. Anybody have any questions before we start? Okay, and I'll come back to it. I'll do a recap of everything. I'll do a recap of the drawing and the all the announcements and everything, and see if you guys have any questions. Okay, so here we go. The first thing we're going to do, like I said, you can see I stamped my little guy on here. I left the arm off, the front of the arm, and I left the top of the hat. So we're going to do the hat first. And let me just grab my pencil. So this, the pencil must be in your toolbox. So I said you need an eraser in your toolbox. You need a pencil, a really sharp pencil. This is the one that I am partial to. I've said this before. I'm not even sure why I'm so partial to it, but I absolutely love this pencil. I bought it on Amazon. So they're very inexpensive, but really any pencil is going to do the job. Okay. Now you can make his little hat as tall as you want. You can really exaggerate it. That would be so cute to really exaggerate his hat. So that's up to you. But the first thing we're going to do is we're going to just mirror this little triangle here. So what we're doing is we're bringing this brim, see, across the back. So this little point and this little point need to kind of meet where this line is. And that's what we're doing. We're creating that. And then we're going to create this little hat band here, kind of where that little rectangle was. So you can see this is coming down here like that. And then we're going to create our little hat. And you know, this little leprechaun hat, it's pretty straight as it goes up. It's a top hat. And you know, you want to make sure these lines they might even go out just a bit from where the head is. Okay, so these lines, they might just go out just a tad. And then create a little dome across the top. And this is why we use a pencil. This is why, because I'm going to zoom in on this because we're going to be doing this with a pencil. This is why, because you can erase this. And then we're going to come down at that same angle and we're going to see the top of the hat. And see, and actually, I'm going to make this a little bit bigger here. I'm going to just bring this out just a little bit more here. So you can see how the hat looks. It looks really three-dimensional now because we've got these lines in. We've got our lines in. We can see the brim here of the hat and we can see the top of the hat. And as he's looking, this also gives us the impression that he's looking up. He's looking up at the rainbow because we can see the top of the hat. Okay, if he's looking down, we can't see that. We're only going to see the dome. Okay, does that make sense? So in this case, we're given the impression that he's looking at something. He's looking, his head is looking up. Okay. All right, so now onto the coat. The first thing we're going to do is round the shoulder. So we're going to round the shoulder just like this, and then we're going to bring this down to his hand. And then we're going to draw the line across. So just like that. And we're not going to worry about this over here. That's okay. So the next thing we're going to do now, once we've got that arm, so remember the arch over the knee, over the shoulder, and then just come down. And if you're not happy with it, erase it and draw it again. It's totally fine. So now the little collar, we've already got this line where his hairline is. We're going to use that line, and that's going to be the collar here for his coat. Okay? And now his little coat tail. We're going to give him another little coat tail, and it just makes his little coat look a little more whimsical. It looks like it's kind of sticking out a little bit, his little coat tail. And then we're going to give him a button. A little button here on the side, and a little button on his sleeve. Okay? And that's it. That's it, you guys. That's it. We're done with modifying him. He is good to go. And we are ready to start adding our water to it and adding our color. So, and actually, you know what? Let's do let's put in the little pot. Well, whilst I've got the pencil here, I'm just gonna come down like this, and it'll look like the pot is kind of hidden back here in the grass. So you can see here, this grass line, it kind of comes down and goes up like this. And I do this usually before I start my my project. I kind of want to see where the ground is going here, what the horizon line is doing. And we're going to have our rainbow coming in here. So we want to kind of tuck this pot in kind of behind the grasses so it looks like it's a little bit hidden back there. And I always think that things at an angle are a little more interesting. So it's kind of, you know, I've got this tipped a little bit and it's kind of tucked into the grass and there's a rainbow behind it. It makes it look just a little bit more whimsical. So I'm just going to pencil this in like this. And then I'm going to take a piece of Post-it tape. This one right here. And I'm going to cover it so that I can stamp behind it. Stamp that little pot right behind it. Okay, so let's do that. I'm going to ink this up and I'm just going to ink the outline. I don't need all these boards on here. We want to kind of create this look of a little pot, a little whimsical pot. And you know what, you guys, let's do something different here. Let's do something different. I'm just going to ink the top rim. I'm going to ink the top rim. I'm going to use the brown, the dark brown. And I'm going to use the black. Like this. And I'm going to use my positioner. Let's move this out of the way just for a second. I'm going to use my positioner so I can see where that's going. And I can see where I'm going to tuck it, and I can tuck it maybe kind of right in here, maybe tip it just a little bit. And I think that looks pretty good right there. And I'm going to just huff on it and stamp this in here. And now I'm going to take my pencil. I don't need this tape. Now, if you were going to stamp the whole thing, you're just going to ink the sides and stamp the whole thing, you could use that. But I'm going to bow this out and make this look like a metal pot. So instead of the straight lines, you can see I use the actual pot here, and it has these straight lines going down. So I just changed it and made it look more like a metal pot. So it looks a little more whimsical. Okay, so we've got that in there. And let's go to the next step, and that will be getting our little boy colored in. So I'm going to move my stuff out of the way first of all, because I just get too much stuff in the way. Okay, so let me get this back over here so you can see. And make sure this is in the screen, and this is in the screen, and this is in the screen. Okay, here we go. Okay, so we're going to pull the color out of the lines, and some of our pencil, but there's still a little color. You can still pull some color out of the lines, even if they're pencil lines. They'll still bleed a little bit and give you a bit of a shadow. So you can do that. And then we're just going to come over here and just go through here. Now I stamped this off. When I inked it in the colors that we always ink it in. So the dark brown and the dark blue. So the 969 and the 565. So the blue first and then the brown. And then I stamped it off. And then I stamped it onto my watercolor paper. Now see this little arm here, I just brushed right through that line. And this is just the beginning stages here. We're going to just pull a little color out of these little crease lines here in his little pants and his little shoes. And then let's do the same here with the pot. And you can see using the black instead of the blue makes it a little grayer. I like that. I think that turned out cute. We could add some handles onto it too. I'm going to teach you guys how to draw. I'm just going to. Okay, there we go. So we've got our beginning, the start of our project. You can see how three-dimensional he is already. He's very three-dimensional already, just by pulling the color out of the lines. Okay, so now we're going to get some green on the palette, because this whole composition is green. It is a lot of green. So here's the 177. This is the warm green. And the 249, this is the cool green. And you can see it looks like it's got some blue in it. And this looks like it's got some yellow in it. So therefore, this is warm and this is cool. And let's see, what other colors do we need? Oh, we need some orange for his hair. That is for sure. He's a little redhead. So let's just put that in. We're just going to brush this in from right under his hat. And you could just make this, I called him a little leprechaun, but you could just make him a little boy too with a leprechaun hat. That would also be really cute. Okay, so now let's add some green. And let's start with his hat. Now this is a dome, right? So we're going to add color just like we would a pot. We're going to start with the color on the outside. That's where it's going to be the darkest. We're going to apply that color, pinch the brush off, and drag it to the center. And we're going to leave that highlight on there. So got to see that. Got to see that highlight. Now on the brim, this is darker here. And we're just going to add this color onto the brim. So you see it really it covers up you know, all those little mistakes, especially if the color is really dark like this. And, you know, the more passes that you make on the hat itself, the darker it's going to be. So if we add more color here, which of course we will because this is really light, add this color darker and then just drag that to the center so we've got that highlight. We just need to see that the center is darker or lighter than the rest of the hat. Now the very top up here, we can leave a little bit of that open. And let's just put a little more on here on the side so that we really get this little hat dark. Okay, so let's go on to the little hat band, and I'm going to choose a different green now. And just leave just a tiny little highlight on here as well. Now, if you want to, you can take your fine tip and you could make a little buckle that you could see from the front, just like that. You know, let me show you on this one. See it just seems like on a typical little leprechaun, you've got a belt buckle on here like that on the front of the hat. So you can kind of see that a little bit on here. Okay, so let's go on to the, you know, and really the face, you can add a little color to that. You really don't have to. You can just kind of blend this color out a little bit and it's fine. You really don't have to add a lot to that. You know, we could add just a tiny bit of red for a little pink cheek. Let's see if we can do that. And I mean a tiny bit, just a teeny bit of red. Yeah, that's cute. Okay. And the same with the hand. You know, it's a little bit bigger, but we don't really have to worry too much about what color. I'm just using a warm brown, and you can make the hand as dark as you want. Like so. Okay, so let's go on to his little coat. And I'm using my tiny brush, by the way. This is my number one brush. And I'm just using this tiny little thing so that I can get into these small areas. And you know, when we're coloring, especially something like this, we're going to do each section at a time. So we're never going to apply the color over the whole coat at once. We're going to do each section on its own. You know, this has got a little bend in it too. So, you know, it's going to be cuter if you can leave just a tiny bit of a highlight on it. On the collar. So let's go now to this green. Same here. You know, the shoulder is going to have a little bit of a highlight on it. You know, I'm always pinching my brush off if I think I have too much color on here. I'm always pinching my brush off. This area across the shoulders, you know, this is just going to be lighter. It's just going to be lighter up here because this is where the light's hitting. And as you come down, it's just going to get a little darker down this way because it's more in the shadows. And just take your time. This is such a fun part of the process. And this little tail, it's kind of in the background, so it can be a little darker back here. And we can, you know, make this little arm, you know, especially if you can still see that line, you can make this little arm a little darker back here. And if you're going to add some kind of texture, you know, a stripe or a plaid or something like that, keep it light so that you can see that pattern. Got his little collar, a different color here. And actually we can do a little different color on his cuff too. This little edge here, that's going to be darker. And it sort of gives the impression that it's kind of turned under a little bit. You know, it's all about how things appear, you know, and it's just a few simple little things, and it really just changes everything. It really does. Okay, so now I'm going to use my fine tip. You know, this is the 177. I'm going to use my fine tip, and I'm going to just color in these little buttons. Like that. That works good. And then I'm just going to use my pencil and create this little detail on the back of his jacket. And you can, you know, you can leave it like that, or you can put in, you can put the detail in. So let's just do it. Let's put some detail in here. And I'm still using my number one brush. So again, each section on its own time. So think about the curves. You know, this sleeve is curved like this. And so that makes a big difference. If you draw straight lines, you're going to lose the curve of the arm. And this tiny little detail, just the idea of that curve really, really makes a difference. And this too down here, you know how the jacket curves down here? Just kind of follow that. And see, this kind of comes up here. And then it goes back straight. And then it comes back over. And it stops at the sleeve. This is kind of where that detail stops. And then it comes back over on this side, just a little bit, tiny little lines over here like that. And then you're going to do the same thing. If you do it as a plaid, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to follow that same contour of the sleeve. Okay, there we go. And you don't have to get every single area just perfect. It's just the idea. And we can put just a little shadow under this detail, because that will make it kind of pop up a little bit. Putting a little shadow under there. Same with the collar. That will create that little detail. And we can actually add a little detail into this hat band too. Okay, he's looking pretty cute. So I'm going to go on to his little pants. And I'm just going to switch out the color here and just start on his little pocket, which is also kind of a dome contour. So you can see it looks like it's sticking out. Maybe he's got a frog or something in his pocket, but he's definitely got something in there. So leaving that highlight will make that pocket pop out. And try to do, you know, just like we did before, try to do each section on its own, even if it's small. And you're always going to start out lighter and get darker. You know, just remember that, you know, the more times you go over it, the more it passes. And as you can see, I stamped him off a little bit. It kind of adds a little more interest to do that, I think. And then I'm just going to kind of brush in these little lines again. Little creases in his pants. And actually this little leg back here would be just a little bit darker. Let's get his shoes really dark here too. Okay, I think he is good to go. We'll add the little detail to his hat and put this little shamrock in his hand as we go. So let's move on now to the little pot, and I'm going to use my my masking tape, Post-it tape, and I'm just going to cover it. And you know, this pot is so far away that we just want the idea of the gold. So I'm just going to use my my little daisy bunch flower. Make sure I've got that all cleaned off. And I'm going to use some yellow. And I should just, you know what? I should just make sure that it is stamping yellow. And it doesn't still have green on it. And it does. Okay, so now I'm going to add this in here. Just kind of in a circle. And you could kind of mound it up a little bit, you know, like it's a little pile of gold. And it's going to give the impression that that's what it is. You don't have to see individual coins because it's back in the distance. And then I'm going to add just a little bit of orange to it. And this is just the 933. So let me tell you the color of the yellow. The yellow is the 993. This is the 933. You know, but for things like this, it's not that important. Just pick a yellow and an orange. Okay, and I'm going to add some blue now, some of that dark blue. This is the 565. I'm going to add a little bit of this to my palette and just put a little shadow on this little pot. I love this little rounded edge, you guys. I'm glad I did that. Now you have two options. So you could do it this way or you could do it the other way with the container. But it's always good to learn something new. And that doesn't, you know, it's just nothing to draw a curved line. And then it gives you a whole nother option, you know, a whole nother way to use that little container. Okay, so let's put in our, I'm thinking let's put in our rainbow next, and then we'll do our foliage kind of in front. So on here, you know, actually, you know, when I did this one, I think I did it correctly. I think the red is on top of the bow and the blue is, or the purple is down below. And I think I kind of did it in the reverse, but I don't know. Does it really matter, you guys? I did the red underneath because I thought it would be a better contrast to the little guy than if I did the blue. I thought that might blend in too much. So it probably, you know, probably doesn't really matter. You know, it's a watercolor painting, and so it's whimsical. I mean, there really aren't leprechauns, you know, so that being said, we could probably make the rainbow however. Okay, so here's how I did it. Here's how I made the rainbow. I took my circle that I used, and I took the larger one, and I just created the arc like this. And I just made it kind of look like it was going to the pot like this. And then I did another one over here, kind of right next to the edge of the circle. But you could also just start it here and just go off the circle too. you know, you can totally do that. If you feel like your colors are getting too big, you know, as you're coming across, just let it bleed off the edge. That's totally fine. And then we can erase this pencil line afterwards. Okay, so let's get our rainbow colors on here. And let's start with the red. So here's the red. This is number 856. You can use any red. And then after red is orange, 933. And then after orange is yellow, 993. And then after yellow is green. And here's the warm green, so the 177. And then after green is blue, so 565. And then after blue is purple, 636. Okay, here we go. And we're just going to paint this on. And don't worry that every color is the same size. It's totally fine. It's watercolor. It's so forgiving. Okay, so we're going to start over here at the top, and we're just going to make a brush stroke. Like literally just come straight down, and don't come all the way to the gold. You know, just kind of stop it as you're coming down. And it's going to kind of get lighter as it gets to the pot. So that's kind of what we want to. Clean your brush off and then go to the orange. And if the orange overlaps a little bit, I think that's okay. I think that looks kind of cool to see those colors kind of blend together. And again, you know, stop before you get to the pot. And then dip your brush, pinch it off, and let's go to the yellow. Same thing with the yellow. Same thing as you're coming down. It's going to get lighter, you know, as you get there. And you can see I've you know, brushed over the top of the orange. That's okay. That's okay. We're not going to worry about that at all. So now let's go to the green. And we're going to do the same. We're going to just come down. And again, you know, kind of stop before you get there. And I'm just gonna, you know, I've got my pencil line in here, but I'm gonna go clear to the top of the circle instead of kind of following that pencil line. So it looks like the bow, the rainbow, continues over. Okay, so now the blue. I'm gonna do the same over here. So you know, always think about your pencil lines, they're just a guide. And sometimes you just change it as you go. And that's okay because we can always erase them. The blue and then the purple. Or the violet. So I actually did go clear to the edge, so that's totally fine. Okay, so once this is dry, we can erase those pencil lines. Okay, now as far as the rest of the sky, we'll put that in after we get our foliage and everything else in, because now we can kind of see how much space we have to add everything. We want to add this little shamrock in his hat, so we don't want too much going on around here, too much color, because that's an accent point, and you can see it, and it really pops because it's in a really light area. And you know, the same with this, and even this one. I kind of added it at the last minute just to put something in his hand. But, you know, if I were to do it again, I would make sure that this was a lot lighter so that that really showed. Okay. So let's add our greenery in. And I'm going to start with this really bright green, the 173, and the little daisy bunch. So I need to really clean this off because I've got all this yellow in it and orange. And I'm just using a baby wipe and my thumb. Baby wipe and my thumb. Great combination. And then I'm just going to use this bright green. This is a 173. And I can just kind of put it into the background for color. And especially, you know, up in here, it's kind of a, I mean, it's just a great filler. Put a little bit in here. And then some back in here also. And then let's go ahead and add in some vines. And I'm going to use the dark green now, the 249. And this one. And I'm just going to add in a few in here. And the same. And I don't want to get too close to him either. You know, he's going to have a little color around him, but if we get too much right in here, because we're using so much green and he's all green. So we want to, you know, make sure that we don't lose him in the whole composition. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and add my water and just kind of blend this all together. This is, you know, very whimsical. This background is not the focal point. So really what we're doing is just, you know, adding these colors, getting a mix of green because this whole thing is green. So we want to see different parts, different types of green in here. And just, you know, blend it out. Just blend it out. It's going to all, you know, go together really well. And this is a time where we could add some color into the sky. You know, something like this blue here. Just blend it in. And, you know, when you have a boundary like this, you want to make sure that you get at least a little bit of color, you know, next to that edge. So when we go to take that, you know, take that circle off, that masking paper off, we could see that edge. And I can just add a little darker in here, just take a little bit of this color and just kind of blend it in. You know, even if you try to do these all the same, like they're different every time. I mean, this doesn't even look anything like this one, does it? But, you know, that's the cool thing about it is that, you know, every one is an individual work of art. And, you know, who cares if you're using stamps because you're making it your own. You're absolutely making it your own. Okay, I'm going to use the little grass now. And the cool, and just put a little of this in. And every time I do these too, you know, it's just like this little pot. I think about something that I would do differently. I don't know if you guys are like that, but that's why it's a really good idea to do them over and over again, not just one time. Because when I'm getting ready for a live, I do these at least twice. And then I'm usually changing it quite a bit by the time I actually get it, get the final project. It looks nothing like what I started with. Because I just, as I go, I'm, you know, kind of, you know, changing what I'm doing and looking at it and thinking, oh, this would be better, you know, if I did it this way. Or less over here and more over here. Now this is probably the fourth time I've done it. I like this one better because it's not as busy in here as this one. And I feel like this one's much simpler. And that's what it takes. It takes doing it over again, you know, a few times so that you're really happy with it. And, you know, seeing it, you're going to see what you did wrong. You're going to see that. Okay, I'm going to add a few these little flowers in. Of course, they're green. So just a few. And I'm going to use my little brush. That looks pretty good. And I'm going to just put some accents in. And you know, I don't know if I even really need this. I don't think I do. Maybe I'll just put in one. Maybe just one kind of right in here. Just to get in a little more texture and color. And then let's put in our little accent flowers. And I'm using a dark, this is the dark green, making sure that I really get this, this dark. And I think I can just fit one right in here. So these are at the end, you know, when you're about finished and I'm stamping them, you can see I'm really stamping them into the light area where it's the lightest so that you can really see them. Okay, I'm going to add just a little bit of color in the sky, just on this side. And just a little bit over here. And let's take that, let's take these pencil lines out. Let's erase this red off. Okay, so now let's put the little detail in here, and I'm just going to use the tip of my pencil. Whoops. Let's do that again. You know what? I'm going to use my Micron. So I'm going to use the Micron. We have these now on our website too. And I'll just put it in like that, like it's in his little hat band. And the fine tip of my my marker, and just put a little dot kind of in the center. You know, that will kind of help you. And really what you're drawing are triangles, 3 of them. Just like that, just 3 little triangles and you're good. And I've still got a lot of busyness going on here, but I think I can still get a little shamrock in here. And then just pull that right to the back of his hand so he's holding on to it. Add a few little details to his pockets. Okay, I think, did we get him finished? I'm going to add just a little bit more of this red into his hair. Make a little more of a red head. Also, you guys, remember, if you would like to have this, be sure to put that in the comments. We always give these away. I'm going to really darken these here. I'm using my fine tip. I want these to really stick out. And his little shoes. Okay, are we ready for the reveal? You know what? I see one thing here. This is bothering me. This red line isn't straight. So I'm just going to come in here and just do that. And you know, this little, if you leave this little white area, it sort of gives you the impression that this is glowing, that it's bright, and there's, you know, some light coming off of it. So it's all just an illusion to give the idea of things. But these little tricks, they really work. And I see I forgot a pencil line up here. Let's get rid of that. Okay, let's do the reveal and take this off. And there he is. Isn't he so cute? Just so cute looking at his pot of gold. And I am going to sign and date. So even if you don't really celebrate St. Patrick's Day, if you're not Irish and you really don't celebrate, learning how to do a rainbow is really fun. And that was a really fun one for me. Like I said, I've never done a tutorial on a rainbow, but this was a really fun project for me. I love doing it. You know, there's always something that you can fix, you know, at the end. Just, you know, extra little details that you can add. Okay, you guys, I think I'm really done now. I'm really done with it. So let me switch you back over. Actually, let me just hold it up. You know, I couldn't get close enough. So let me just hold it up so that you can see it really well. Just a really fun one to do. You know, you can switch it out to the little girl too. So if you want to do that, try that on her. That would be really fun to do. Okay, I am back to say hello and goodbye. Let me remind you of the two things. Today is the last day to get the exclusive. You have until midnight to get the the throwbacks, the two throwback sets. They are set number 5545. That is the little cart and the fence. Here's the project. Kendra did this on Back to Basics. So cute. The giant porch, this one. Here is the project on that one. And congratulations to our winners on the camper challenge, you guys. I had the best time with that. I'm going to announce them again because I just like saying their names. So our random winner, Julie W, number 9. She's the number 9th one on here. Be sure that you email Leah, feedback@artimpressions.com. Tell her that you are the winner. You have won $50, a $50 gift certificate to the Art Impressions website and one of these originals. You get that too, a signed original. And the top spot, so the champion is Diane Mason with her brilliant creation. It is so cute. There are so many things to see on it. Please go over to the blog. Even if you didn't enter, have no idea what the challenge is, go to the blog and look at these campers. They are so cute. Go to artimpressions.com, click the blog, and it'll take you over to our blog. Scroll down till you find the challenge. Or Leah may have posted it on there. I think she did, so that you can see the winners. But check out all the entries. They are so good. So congratulations to Diane Mason, Julie W. You both received $50 gift certificate. And then our honorary mentions, who are absolutely brilliant with what they have created. Michelle Hoskins and Tony Woods, congratulations, both of you. Excellent work. Just beautiful work. You each get $25 gift certificate. And every single person who entered the challenge, if you uploaded onto our blog an entry to the challenge, you will get a $15 gift certificate to Art Impressions, the website. So be sure all of you winners, email Leah, feedback@Art Impressions, so that she can issue you a code so you can use it on your next order. Okay? Thank you all so much. Don't forget the warehouse sale, June 10th and 11th. Let me just make sure. June 10th and 11th. Yes. Hopefully we can see you all there. I will be back next week at my regular time. So next Wednesday, Watercolor Wednesday, I will be back. And maybe I'm thinking an Easter project, you guys. What do you think? We're getting close to Easter, and I love, love, love that time of the year. So let me know what you're thinking, what you would like to see, and tell me in your comments, and I will be checking that out. Any questions that you have that I didn't see when I was working, put those in your comments, and we will get those answered for you. So thank you all so much. Let me just scroll down here really quick to see. Ruth Ann says Easter, yes, I know. Wouldn't an Easter project be fun? I am thinking to do that. So thank you so much. Thanks for playing the challenge, you guys. Thanks for entering. That was so fun. I promise I will do it again, and I will get a really good, fun project for you. So I hope more of you will enter. It was so much fun, and it really was a challenge, wasn't it? It really was. So thank you all, everyone. I will see you next week on Watercolor Wednesday. Don't forget to check us out on our Instagram, YouTube, obviously Facebook, and we'll see you again for more inspiration. Thanks, everyone. See you next week.